Good afternoon friends, today we are discussing about the innate and acquired immunity. Now what is the immunity? That is the ability of an organism to recognize and defend itself against the specific pathogens or antigen. So it means that suppose when antigen is entered in your body, our immune system first recognize that antigen, and after that it make a plan. That's why it kill that particular type of antigen. So such type of mechanism is called as a immunity. Now what is the immune response? Now second is the immune response. First is the immunity, which is free from burden, and it's the ability of an organism to fight against the pathogen which is enter in our body. Now secondly, we are discussing about the immune response. Immune response. Now what is the immune response, friend? This is the included in a third line of defense. Included in a third line of defense. Now what is the third line of defense? That it is involve the production of the antibodies and generation of the specific lymphocytes that kill the antigen. So third line of defense include the production of antibody and generation of specific lymphocytes, and that's antibody and lymphocytes kill the antigen. There is the immune and specific part of our immune system, whether the another two parts which is included in a non-specific mechanism. So it's been students, the third line of defense included the mechanism of specific line of defense. So next is the immune systems, the first line, second line and third line of defense. So first discussing about the non-specific and specific immune defense. A non-specific immune defense. Non-specific defense mechanism. Non-specific defense mechanism and specific defense mechanism. So this non-specific defense mechanism involve where we have to kill the pathogen in every way or in others way. Here no specific cells is involved to kill the pathogens. So non-specific defense mechanism included in a two category. That is the first is the first line of defense. First line of defense, and is the second line of defense. Second line of defense. The first line of defense include the skin and mucous membrane. It include skin and mucous membrane. So first, any pathogen which is entered into the body of human being is by the root, which is directly enter into the inside of the body. These roots may be included your skin, that is the skin, your eyes, mouth, okay, and your nasal cavity. Because this roots is always exposed to the environment. But no worry, no one pathogen can enter these roots because the non-specific or first line of defense mechanism kill that antigen which is entered in this root. So first, skin, which is the largest organ of our body, that skin cannot harbor any organism on their body. This skin is responsible for non-penetration of the bacteria and any pathogen inside the body. If only the pathogen enter in our body if there is a scratches on the skin or your skin is cut at any places. So there is a skin that cannot introduce the pathogen in your body. Eyes. So simple, eyes contain the tears, and this tears is helpful to check the entry of the pathogen inside the body, because tears contain the antibody, and another antimicrobial proteins which kill the pathogens which is harbor at the eye sites. The third is the mouth and nasal cavity. So your mouth contains the saliva as well as the another enzymes which kill the pathogen which is enter or harbor inside the mouth. And your nasal cavity which contain the mucus. This mucus entrap the pathogen which is entered via the nasal cavity, and it include the swallowing of that particular pathogens. So all these mechanism included the non-specific line of defense mechanism, because no one specific type of cell is play a role inside of that immunity. So it included in a non-specific defense mechanism, which is the first line of defense. Now discussing about the second line of defense. If by chance the pathogen cross all these barrier like your skin, your mucous membrane, eyes, tears, and so it is included and encounter with the second line of defense. Now at that time this cross the all the barrier and included in your blood or included in your body system. So at that time your second line of defense are activated. So in the second line of defense, it included your phagocytic cell, phagocytic blood cell, okay, and antimicrobial protein, antimicrobial proteins, and third is the inflammatory response. Now what is the phagocytic blood cells? That phagocytic blood cells are special type of lymphocytes when any antigen which is enter in your blood is first interact with the phagocytic blood cell, and this phagocytic blood cell have a tendency to entrap the pathogens, it engulf the pathogens, and it break down the pathogen inside the phagocytic blood cells. So second is the antimicrobial protein. That protein contain the many peptidase enzymes. That antimicrobial proteins which is composed of amino acids is act on the membrane of the bacterial systems, and it destroy the plasma membrane of the bacteria or pathogens. So in that way this second line of defense protects us from the pathogen. The third is the inflammatory response. The inflammatory response include the many category of cytokines. That cytokines first interact with your blood vessels, it increase the thickness of the blood vessel, and many cells which is present in the inflammatory cells they interact at that particular places, and they releases their particular secretions, and these secretions or enzymes or cytokines kill that particular type of antigens. But here in all these three categories there is no particular cell is involved to kill the pathogens, or there is no particular plan. So this is included in a non-specific defense mechanism. Now students, we are discussing about the specific defense mechanism, which is the important part of the immune systems. So third line of defense. Now the third line of defense include the lymphocytes. It include the lymphocytes, and it includes the now third line of defense include the lymphocytes as well as it includes the antibodies. Now lymphocytes that mainly into the specific defense mechanisms are B cell and T cell. Okay. And now this antibodies, which is the product of B cell, this B cells, plasma B cells or membrane B cells, is responsible for production of the antibodies which is act against the specific type of antigens. So here B cell and T cell make a plan to kill that particular type of antigen. So that's why this is the specific defense mechanism. Now discussing the specific defense mechanism in a detail. So the specific defense mechanism involves the production of lymphocytes, that is the B cell and T cell. So this B cell, when antigen is entering your body, this is captured by the antigen presenting cell. Antigen presenting cells, or it may be encountered with the B cell directly. B cell directly. In that condition, your B cells are activated and B cell is divided and converted into two types of cells, that is the plasma cell and memory B cell. Memory B cells. Within a short period of time, that plasma cells secrete the enormous quantity of antibody which is sufficient to kill the pathogen which is entered in our body. After that, the plasma cells have a very short lifespan. After releasing or secreting the antibodies, their lifespan is over and it may be destroyed. What is remaining? What is remaining only is the memory B cells. And this memory B cell generate the memory for the future prospectus. If such type of pathogens when enter in your body next time, your memory B cell remember it and activate and convert the plasma cell and secrete the antibody. And second, it include the T cells. Now T cells is act in a two way. That T cells are two types, mainly T helper cell and T killer cells. Now this T helper cell is responsible. This T helper cell help the T helper cell is responsible for the give signaling to the B cell, and in turn B cell is responsible for the secretion of antibody. The most of the time this T helper cell helps the B cells to produce the antibodies, and next is a T killer cell. This T killer cell, when in encounter with the direct encounter with the antigen, at that time this T killer cells are very active and it kill the pathogens or infected cell directly. So these are the immunities, or these are the innate and acquired immunity, or first line, second line and third line of defense, which is included for non-specific and specific type of mechanism. Now what is the innate and acquired immunity? So students, in that lecture we are discussing about up to that specific and non-specific mechanism only. Thank you.